Remember, I'm going to be running numbers, showing people how to run numbers on properties and showing red
What's
X.
up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the call. How's everybody doing? Sorry we're a little late today. Maylee and I just rolled in. We've been in appointments all day, but we made it. Only
Yay.
6 minutes late, so that's pretty impressive. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. We're happy you're here. Again, apologize for being a little late. One of those days, I'll tell you. But we've got some exciting stuff for you today. So I want to share first some announcements. We are streaming live on YouTube. These recordings are available immediately for you. So if you see something that you really enjoyed today and you forgot to take notes, it's okay because all of our Mitch and Maley live calls are available on YouTube. They're available to stream immediately after the call. So go check that out on our YouTube channel, Flipping with Mitch and Maley. We have an exciting announcement actually on our YouTube channel. So we recently did a collaboration with a chef. We have Maylee's designed dozens and dozens of beautiful kitchens, and we've never gotten to cook in any of them. And Maylee was telling me that she was disappointed about that. So we reached out to another YouTube channel and recently did a little collaboration of a cooking slash real estate video that we're going to be uploading on Saturday. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. If you haven't done it already, go click that subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell so that you're alerted as soon as that uploads. You're not going to want to miss it. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So we did kind of a little bit of a cook-off. And it was Maylee and I against the chef. So, you can guess who won, but, we're pretty awesome. So
If you don't know, Chef, Mitch is a really good cook. Like he's really good.
that's
So
right.
this was a pretty funny collaboration.
I got those Jimmy Dean microwavable sandwiches down.
Yeah, you do.
So just so
It
you
was
guys are aware, we have live meetings all over the country. So if you are in other parts of the country, Maylee and I are in Utah, but anywhere you are in the U.S., we have live real estate investor meetings where you can mix and mingle with like-minded individuals. If you would like dates, times, and addresses for those meetings, please reach out to me. The ones that we have here locally that Maylee and I are a part of, we have Tuesday meetings at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We also have Tuesday meetings at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, as well as Thursdays at 7 p.m. So there's different stuff taught in every one of those meetings. So you're rarely going to hear the same thing taught twice, but come check those out. They're pretty awesome. And then we have a kind of a national conference for our real estate investor, for our nationwide real estate investor group. This is the national conference, March 30th and 31st here in Layton, Utah. So you guys aren't going to want to miss that. Reach out to us for more information on those. You can reach out to us in the comments on YouTube, or you can DM us on Facebook at Mitch and Maley, or at Flipping with Mitch and Maley, excuse me. So we're going to dive a little bit today into some pretty cool stuff. Maley has a new lead gen software called Vortex Property Lead Gen. She's going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to dive in and make some cold calls on seller financing deals. So you guys are going to get a chance to check that out. And Maley, is there anything else that we're missing here?
Yeah, so this is kind of the itinerary today, and really, if depending on what you guys want, I mean, I can kind of spin this, and it's the people who get to be on the Zoom call get to make these decisions. So, hey, what's up? Good afternoon. So for the people who are, live here on our Zoom, get to make all the choices around here. So to give you guys a little special attention, the docket and itinerary, what we were going to talk about tonight is I just put a property under contract. And so I wanted to highlight that and really run the numbers. So something that I realized when I was at our brokerage on Tuesday doing our big Tuesday meetings, and something that kind of kept coming up was everyone knows that I do fix and flips and that we do. And they're like, oh, well, I hear that though, like the hard money lenders, they ask for different requirements than what we would normally run. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like I honestly was super confused. And they kept talking about this, and it was who was trading was a wholesaler, and she had done like 10 wholesales total, and which is a big deal to be honest in the fix and flip or in like the real estate investing world, anything over five was like, oh, you should kind of have a clue what you're doing, right? I mean, really. And so they leaned on her for expertise and was really, saying, oh my gosh, like, wow, it's amazing. Had all these great questions. But at the end of it, I was like, she kept just saying, well, you really have to figure out how to run the numbers like a hard money lender because you're not going to get a deal unless you know how they do numbers. And so instead of you wasting your time, why don't you just send the deals to your hard money lender and they'll let you know if it's a deal or not? And I kind of thought, I don't think that's a really good idea. Like, why would you go through all the work and then put it under contract and do everything and then go to your hard money lender and be like, so can we do this? I have hard money or I have, earnest money on the line. I have all of, all this due diligence I have to do now in a short amount of time because I don't know how to do my own numbers. So I was really sad about that. I thought, okay, well, we can fix that. If we need some training on how you would run your own numbers, then I would want to, focus on that. And we can talk about that specific deal because it's kind of unique, to be honest. So it would probably be a good one to learn from. And then if I wanted to share my screen, but basically we have Vortex and Vortex for like to do a trading today. So we could split it up. We could do kind of half and half. We could do full on smile and dial. But we have 273 leads as of today that we could start calling. And we could rapid fire these, but basically they are rent to own or seller by FSBOs and just pretty much distressed rent landlords, excuse me. So we could call these people and basically I'm just going to show you how to use Vortex. I've only had it now for a week, so I'm not like necessarily, I wouldn't say an expert on this, but it's really not hard to use. So I don't know why, it's not rocket science, I don't think here. We can figure it out together. And so far I've actually really liked it because it has the numbers. And as an investor, usually that's like the hardest part is having to, skip trace. That has been, I mean, the biggest frustration since Mitch and I have been together and since I learned how to do real estate investing in the first place. We put together a group called Man Communities, and Man Communities was awesome. We had up to 200 people at a time showing up every single Wednesday, smiling and dialing. That's all we did is learn how to smile and dial and how to skip trace to figure out all of these leads. And skip tracing takes forever. Like it's the biggest headache out of all the things that we do is being that, investigation person and really putting on your, what do they call it? Your spy hat or whatever they call it, right? So I think that having a software that just kind of does it all for you or a company, right? Because that's what this is you're just paying for leads. You're just paying for all the FSBOs in your area. You pay per or county. So before I paid for it, I basically just was like, okay, can you tell me how many leads are in X amount of area, right? And they're like, oh yeah. So for FSBOs, I think there was only like 30 leads in Davis County total. And I was like, oh, okay, well, for $70, I don't think that's that's not really a good deal. It's like 30 people. I can call FSBOs, right? The ones, because those people, I mean, usually have it on KSL, so you can kind of track those people down. So FSBOs weren't super exciting to me. And the ones that were exciting was all of the landlords. So they basically anywhere, if they have somebody like drives around basically and looks for rent signs and then grabs their phone number and then calls and verifies that it's them and then asks them about their property and then puts the information in the system. So that's pretty cool. And then they have basically if KSL, Craigslist, anywhere if they're putting ads out saying for rent, then they have that contact information and the rent information. So anyway, that's pretty nice because what do we know about people who have homes that are for rent or properties, multifamily units for rent? What do we know about these people?
Many times they are distressed and want to kind of dump the property.
Ah, right? Or they're just frustrated. Sometimes it's not even so much that they're like, oh my gosh, I have to, because if they're already relisted, I wish there was a way to catch it right when, well, there is. It's just again a lot more work. So if you do go to it, I highly recommend it. If you go down to the county, they have a record of if you have to evict somebody, right? That's great because for sure that landlord is furious. Like that landlord is not happy. We don't know though if any of these guys have been that. We have no idea their situation, and so I kind of feel like it's a fun game because we don't know. They might be like, actually, you're the 200th person that's called me for this rent, and I don't want to deal with this anymore. It's like, perfect, I do. So I'll deal with it. I'm gonna hire a property manager that handles it because you're a moron. I'm just kidding. But right. So yeah, I don't know. I think that I've had success, and I've had quite a bit of our team members, have success by calling these types of leads. So that is kind of the idea today. Any questions or direction that you would like us to go? First up, I just love that you're all here. So thanks for being here. Love you guys.
So just to review the options, we have we can just do straight seller finance cold calls today. We've got a property that we need to run the numbers on and kind of start a quick analysis process on. And we've got Vortex. So we can kind of do a little bit of all three if you guys want to experience all three of those. Or we could just focus on one of them and kind of go deeper in depth on one of those topics for the call. What do you guys think? What do you prefer today?
All three.
All three.
Let's do it. Let's get to it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about Vortex, Maylee. That sounds interesting.
Right? I know. Who knew? Where has this been our whole lives? I mean, you were back in the old days with us, calling, smiling, and dialing. It's like it was such a headache trying to skip trace, right?
Yeah.
We use all sorts of different softwares to try and figure this out. And also Mojo. Do you remember when we were doing like the three, ping for like, so you could call three people at a time and it would pick up and drop voicemails? This actually company has the same software, but it's actually calling real people. So it's like, oh, hey, look at that, real live person. And it is attached though, so there is a caveat, and I should have said this before. I think you have to be a real estate agent. I think. So that could be an issue. I don't know, to be honest, but they did ask me like 3 times what brokerage I was with. And that might just be obviously for FSBOs. That would probably be the case. Or expired listings. That might be for sure the case. Yeah, expired listings. Because they would want to know what yeah, that's probably the only reason why. Just kidding. And never mind. I solved my own problem. Sorry, guys. Duh. So I'm sure it would be fine for anyone else to get Vortex, but it's if you're wanting expired listings. So that's the other problem as a real estate agent. That's a perfect opportunity for you to pick up new business. Because usually as a real estate agent, right, how it goes down is, so if you call an expired listing, they're like, oh, hey, so your home, you expired or you canceled or your home didn't sell. Tell me a little bit about that. What happened? And every time it's, my listing agent didn't know how to sell my property, and they're always pissed off at their listing agent, which is perfect for us because we're not that person. And so typically we can kind of schmooze them over a little bit, right? And get them excited about what you're going to do for them and how you're going to change that and how the market's changed and whatever, right? The pitch that you want to give them. So expired listings are fantastic. However, this is the reason why I found this product was because you can't find their number, right? Like no matter what, you would have to skip trace every single property. So you'd have to go, because on the MLS as a real estate agent, you don't have access to any of the homeowner's information. You only have access to the last listing agent's information. So either you could call the last listing agent and be like, hey, bro, I want your old listing.
Yeah, ain't gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. And then be like, oh, well, you didn't do a very good job, but I think I can. And try and get it that way. Or, is grab the address and then skip trace it and then try and, usually I would feel like in the past I would have had to call like 3 or 4 people, sometimes 14 people to get the right person when you're using like Family Tree or any of those other skip tracing platforms. So having somebody else do that for you is worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. So expired listings, as a real estate, you do need to be a real estate agent. But the nice thing is if you know me or you know a friend or whatever that is one, you guys can kind of share those, so again, no one reached out. I'm shocked, to be honest. That if you do want to do some smiling and dialing with me, I would, we can definitely do that. So I'm available on Wednesdays to do smiling and dialing together if that's something that is helpful. Because sometimes, and this is what I found with our team, is that for whatever reason, watching me smile and dial is helpful, I feel like. And then having a script, obviously, that's super helpful. And because then you're like, oh, I hear kind of the objections. I hear how Maylee's overcoming them. And then I see that it's really not that big of a deal, right? Like we can have a conversation. They put on their pants just like the rest of us, right? But for whatever reason, it's just the commitment, like an accountability partner, right? That's like, there's a million things I could do. Like the lawn is finally starting to come out, I could go mow the lawn, I can start doing laundry, you can come up with a million excuses of why you don't end up smiling and dialing. Because it's like the last thing you want to do, unfortunately. So having like a time where you're like, no, this is the time that I do it. And I have a team that's watching me on Zoom, right? Might be on mute, but we're smiling and dialing. And it's just a way to have, an accountability of, oh, how many did you get to? And it's maybe a competition, right? And make it fun rather than like, I don't want to be myself and do this. But I don't like to do it in a big room. We tried that once. We were like all together and there was accountability. And all you could hear is the other people in the background. I felt like it was a call center. Like, no, I don't like that either. So Zoom does work pretty good because we can all show up. We can talk about success. We can talk about what we're struggling with or whatever. And then be like, okay, goal, hit 10 by the end of this hour, right? Or whatever. And do whatever it takes to get that. And then we all talk at the end and we can still see each other or whatever. And you can raise your hand if you have a question. I can come off the phone and talk. And so that's why we do it that way, because then you can actually mute yourself. You don't feel like you're on a call center. Anyway, that has seemed to been successful. Okay, so let's do this then. I'm going to, because it's 7:30 here in Utah, I'm going to do the smiling dialing first. And partly that will be, Mitchie, can I have ability to show? Oh, you already did. Look at that. Okay, so do you see my frame? Can you see that? Vortex, can you see it? Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yes.
This is the platform. Now, you will go to actually RedX. So if you're going to Google it, you're going to actually go to, it's just RedX prospecting. I don't know how I didn't know about this. I feel honestly kind of shocked, but mostly I feel like it was for agents. I don't know how I missed this for so many years. So I'm like, this could have saved me a lot of freaking time. So anyway, I would recommend looking at all their products because you have expired leads, you have geo leads, you have for sale by owner leads, you have rent for by owner leads, and that's what we're going to be calling this and this. And then you have pre-foreclosure leads. When I asked them about pre-foreclosure leads in Salt Lake County, there was like 20. So there's still not a ton. And to pay, curious, I can't remember how much it was. It was like, of course, I'm going to make you do the whole property jump skip thing. But I want to say that it was like $60. So each one of these is like $60 per month. So it can add up, right? Like so what they did for me, and I'm sure they would do for you, and I actually have the contact for the guy that he's like, oh yeah, I'll hook you up. I'll hook your team up. I'm like, okay, good. I mean, I don't make anything from this, but nevertheless, I would Brandon did a good job, so I would hook you up with him. So what he did is he gave me for sale by owner leads for free this month. Because what I really wanted, was expired, and I wanted for rent by owner leads. That's what I wanted this month, because as an agent, this one sounded very attractive to me. And sometimes if they don't know, right, if the real estate agent isn't smart, unfortunately, about understanding the investing side of the world, then, they could have listed a home that's really fugly, and hello, that's why it didn't sell, right? Like, you overpriced it. So I thought, oh my gosh, we could like partner with these people, right, and have them actually carry the note while we're renovating it. There's all sorts of clever, you could partner with them up and be like, hey, if we threw $20,000 into it, we could turn it into a nightly rental. Bam, right? I don't know, like, there's so many different creative ways that you can make these leads work. So just simply opening up the conversation and letting them know who you are, what you're about, is what I would do. So you just go to sign up, but that is, if I need to put that in the chat real quick, I can. That's helpful, just so that if other people are watching later on, it's easy. There's that. Okay. So moving right along, we will go right back to Vortex. So for whatever reason, the actual CRM is called Vortex. So that's why it may be a little bit confusing. The company that you purchase it through is RedX. And then once you've purchased it, this is the platform, once you're logged in, that you get, so that you can, look at these. So I have clicked on FSBOs and for rent FSBOs. And that's why, that's how it'll create those leads for you. We can go back to both of them. And then I do have expired on here, I believe, as well. Yes. So that's pretty cool. I wonder, are these all? Nice. Geez. Look at all these. I got 1,600 leads if I, use the expired. So that's, it's a good amount of people that's worth probably looking at. For now, we're actually going to get rid of this guy just because it's probably not as helpful for this specific call. So let's do that. Over here, you can actually create change up the CRM. So once we call, let's go just for the very top. Let's refresh. All right. Okay, I already did that. So I don't know why it made me do it again. So if we call George, we know a couple things, right? So let's click on the house. It's in Draper. Okay, we can kind of go to the house. We can kind of get a nice, like, all right, where is this guy? Yeah, oh, it's a nice house. That's a nice house. That's a nice neighborhood. You can obviously Google it if you really want to get into the home before you even make a phone call. It's 5,900 square feet. So, okay, that's a big house for them to be trying to rent out. All the green are rents, all the orange. So when we get down to you'll see right there, the orange boxes, homes, those are the FSBOs. So just so you can kind of see the difference between them. So when we call George, what will happen is we can say, we did contact him. We can talk about calling him back and then schedule a new time to call him back. Appointment set, listed, sold, archived, not interested, right? So you can really, and that was the other frustrating part, as I started doing this just on KSL because, a lot of people put their FSBOs or their rents, hey, for rent, on KSL, which is great. Problem is then keeping track. That was the other problem I was running into. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, I don't have to track down their number, but keeping track of where and when I called them and then when they wanted me to come back to their house. And people always have chaos going on in their life. So having some place to manage this made sense to me. So anyway, without further ado, if you don't have any more questions, we can start calling, but do you before we get to it.
No, Melee, is there a place where you can put notes in there or where you're checking or, in progress or callback or whatever?
Not
Like
really.
it,
Yeah, that's, kind of a downside. And I don't know if I didn't pay for the premium, to be honest, and I just wanted to see how this worked. If this works well, I might pay for the premium, and you can kind of go look what the special offer, that's what that is. So in, 1 hour and 4 minutes, my special offer is ending, and
oh,
basically it's, I don't know what it is, but that's what they're trying to do, is get me to buy the bigger package. For what I could see, it's just basically them sending emails to these people, so you get their email addresses as well. Not bad. Maybe that's not a bad idea, right? But I really wanted to just pick up the phone and start calling these people. But this is the plus. If you go here, and then you can actually manually import. I did see that. So if you wanted to put stuff from the MLS in here, or your own customers, you can also create a lead. So that's nice. Yeah, I don't call recordings. So it does have, not on this spot, but if you want to buy the Smile and Dial, like it can call 3 people at a time. And so if you go back to, the Red X or whatever, they do have a bunch of those types of, services where you can actually have them Smile and Dial. It's rapid fire calling. Trying to remember where, though. It does talk about. Let's learn more. Here we go. So, email address, market trend data, homeowner financial insights, home and building specifications, lifestyle insight. For me, I was like, I don't know, but I'm assuming there would be like something like that where you could take notes and stuff. I don't mind taking notes on my own and keeping track of that, but it's just simply like I wanted something, because I have a different CRM that I can import these over to, but just simply be like, okay, I can come over here and be like, I'm going to filter this out and be like, which ones, like all new leads only, right? These are all going to be all new leads. Or I could just be like, oh, just the ones that are in progress, or right. So I can kind of filter through that. That's nice. If you're looking at 1,600 leads, that gets really overwhelming. And if you marked them hot, then that's cool too. And you kind of get back to them really quickly. So yeah, I don't love that there's not really a great CRM spot, but it is what it is, I guess. I guess there's a lot of different. So down here you have tools. So it says, where are my leads? What does dial mean? That's hilarious. What does dial mean? Wow, that's dumbing this down real fast. That's good. How do I export my leads? How do I use filters? Because that's the other thing I was wondering when I first got this, was like, well, but like if I only want this for a month, let's say, then I paid for all these leads. And then if I don't call all 277 people or 1,600 of them, do I just lose them all if I don't pay for it the next month? So this is where you could actually export the leads. So you can put them in your own CRM. So if you already have one that you really like, I recommend doing that. I don't love the CRM that I currently have. So there's one called Chime that I'm looking at, and Chime is cool because it's not so robust that it's not user friendly, but it's enough that we'll still email everyone. It can send text messages, but you can take notes and keep track, and it'll create like hot sheets for your clients and things like that, and have a website for you and a landing page, and it's like $30 a month. So that one I will, once I have a little bit more information on it, we can look through that together and kind of see what you like. But that would be my suggestion, is probably just to import these over to a different platform. But for now, I think this is fine, right? This is good. I also want to say there was something cool I saw. Any other cool things on here? Well, I know I saw something cool. There it is. So they have cool little already built in scripts. I'm calling about the rental you have listed online. Are you still trying to fill that vacancy? Great. This is Millionaire with blah, 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 right? Whatever you want to say there. I'm calling because I work with a lot of buyers, selling, and investors in the area and wanted to find out what your long-term plans are with the property. And that's a great question, actually. Do you buy the home as an investment property, or did you end up as one of those, let's see, or did it end up as one of those circumstances? Interesting. Do you have any other rental properties? That's a great question to ask. When was the last time you had an appraisal or a competitive market analysis? And as an agent, this could go kind of either way. Like, oh, like let me help you just sell it. That sounds like what they're trying to do here. Personally, this isn't a seller finance pitch, so I would change that towards the bottom just so that it's getting what we want out of it, which is seller financing. Is your equity position, so it was right? Would be the property be an option for you? As I've helped homeowners and landlords over the years, I've found sometimes it makes sense to rent and others it's better to sell. So there, right, we could change that up and be like, we're not going to say that. We're going to be like, better to, let's see if it lets me edit it. No? Okay. You said I could edit it. Let's see here, options for you. I found sometimes it makes it better to sell. Let's see, rent and for others, it's better to, right? And then we can explain what seller financing is. We can take the time to put that in there. I will actually for you guys, and we can send that over. I can put it in the chat here in a minute. That's helpful to explain what seller financing is. Again, they probably would already be doing it if they just knew what it was. I'm not kidding. Like every time, right, that I have this conversation with people, it's like, wait, what? Like that's a thing? Yeah. Sorry you didn't know about this for so long because you've been a landlord and it sucks. But great news, you can actually just seller finance to somebody. Make still your, because they became a landlord for a reason. They wanted cash flow. We all know that, right? So they got an investment. They're like, yes, this is my retirement plan. I'm going to buy, 2 or 3 or 4 or 1, maybe it's their first one, rental, and then they're going to manage it. And that is their retirement plan. Problem is 2-3 years later, they go, why the freak am I doing this? Or they're getting ready to retire and they recognize they can't retire because they're going to still be mowing lawns and, shoveling snow and picking up little army men out of toilets and, all the things. So I do think that having that just mentality of like, no, like you can have the best of all the worlds, right? Like you can pick up cash flow without having to deal with all the problems. Let me deal with that, right? That's my job. Let's see here. If you okay with it, I'd like to do some research on the property's value. Worst case scenario is find out that charging more, blah, 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 different than you expected. Okay. Do you have a few minutes this week to review? I'm coming up with the options. Let's do the landlord. Okay. I mean, this is pretty good. How long have you owned the home and have you been renting it out? So those are all honestly pretty good questions. I would add to that, right? Just to kind of like,
You little monster.
say that again. Missed you. Somebody was making a comment towards this, but so okay, we'll keep that open just as a reference. If somebody did have something that you were trying to say, please chime in again. This is definitely an open, forum. This is definitely a place for you guys to see what you guys are wanting out of this conversation. So feel free to speak up. All right, let's call Craig. What do you think? Again, though, well, and maybe you think through this just as a side note, real quick. So 5,900 square feet. He's renting this out. Do you think that would be an easy rental to rent out at 5,900 square feet at $6,000 a month? And do you want that liability? Maybe not, but it'd be maybe interesting to see why he is. Like, why are you renting this house out? Like, I wonder what happened. And, or maybe it's like, dude, it's awesome, right? Like I paid this house off. I moved. and now I'm cash flowing crazy money because of how much I can charge. I don't know. That's a big house. That's crazy. And I don't know how he's only charging. Well, I guess he probably has a good mortgage on it. So this is probably a little bit more realistic, right? It's like $1,800 a month, 1,100 square feet. Yeah, that's probably more like it. What are your thoughts? Would you still call this? Would you still go down that rabbit hole? And is that worth your time, or do you skip that lead and go, yeah, it's actually not really worth my time?
So
What do
would
you
the
think?
game plan be with this one? He's listed it for rent, just offering him seller financing where, and pitching him on the benefits of, it's guaranteed income kind of thing. And then we would rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
That's a gamble because, like, are there are there people that are looking for
yeah.
rentals at that price point?
I mean, he's doing for rent by owner, which is harder to find. It's harder to find tenants than if you are going through property management channels. So I don't know. If not, it's a good lead to burn.
Cool. Let's burn it. Let's burn the lead. I like it. Any other questions? Sorry, of course, getting blown up with a million text messages. Okay, stay focused, Millie. Here we go. 801-851-1287. Craig. No, George. I'm bad. George. That'd be funny. Hello, is this George? A weird noise. Here's where you can keep notes. Yeah.
Hello,
Hi, is this George?
this is George.
George, this is Maylee. How are you?
Hi, Maylee.
Hey, I'm actually calling you on your property that you have for rent on 2188 Tuscany Creek Way.
Yeah.
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 Well, I actually am in the market. So I help real estate investors purchase, different type of homes. And being that this is for, it's a great listing as far as, a rental. I was just curious how long, have you been renting it? Do you get rents at this rate? I mean, is this the first time you've done it at
No,
this price?
No, we bought a house down in downtown Salt Lake, so we're moving in there, but based on market conditions, we're not interested in selling the house at this point, so that's what we're going to.
I love that because you're like, no, I want to sell it at top dollar, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. Is this the first? So I guess, sorry, I'm being nosy. If you had a second, I would love to, because maybe I have a buyer or like a renter for you. So I work with people who have maybe not such great credit, or maybe like business owners. I have quite a few business owners that can't qualify just yet, right? Because their taxes are all jacked up or whatever, things like.
No, we have so much interest on this. I'm not interested in any, alternative options, and we know the market's not going to bear the value on a sell. So we appreciate your call, but we're interested. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Real quick, I think I got you off on the wrong page here. What was that? Oh, yep, no. So thought I was trying to sell his house, which is the key. I said that wrong. I'm not trying to sell your house, but that's okay. I'll call him back. George, I'm calling you back. Because you didn't get it. I said it wrong. That's okay. See, it's all learning experience here. So I would say, call back. Sure. And then I'm going to put notes. Ooh, let's see. So you can, priority, maybe. But yeah, there you go. There's notes. So you got to learn together. Let's see.
And while you're doing this, Maylee is
Huh?
I just want to point out, Maylee's an expert. Maylee's been knocking doors and generating leads and talking to people for years and years. You're gonna burn some leads when you jump in and start doing it. So a lot of people have fear of, well, what if I do it wrong? Don't worry about that. Like you're gonna get in and you're gonna say the wrong thing sometimes. That's okay. just move on to the next one and keep going, and you know, you'll warm into it. So there's always a process, and my process is definitely a lot longer than Maylee's, but there's always a process of kind of getting warm on the calling as well. So I think that was a good lead to burn,
Yeah.
because that'd be a tough one to rent.
Yeah, it definitely. But did you hear him? He has so much. That was actually my question and why I wanted to hear a little bit what he was doing. Is like he's getting a ton of attraction. That makes me feel good about our other homes, you know, in the future, because something that we've kind of like, oh no, like, can we even rent out some of these big homes that we have if we needed to convert them or things like that? I mean, I've heard from quite a few people it's like not a big deal, but it's so good to really hear it from somebody that's just doing it by himself too, not even a property management company. So I do love that. All right, so let's see here. Let's call Craig. Let's see, 573.
Stratford.
What was that?
Stratford Avenue.
Yeah. Do you know that area? I don't.
It's Sugar House.
Is it?
Hello,
Hi, is this Craig?
this is.
Hi, Craig. My name's Maylee. I'm actually calling on your uh, home that you have for rent on Stafford Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was just, could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's so I just went through the whole place.
Mm-hmm.
New carpet, paint. It's 2 bedroom up with a family room down and like an office.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a toilet and a sink downstairs and then a laundry room. It's got dishwasher, all double glass, new furnace, air conditioning, carpets all new, paint. The whole thing's been gone through. And then I take care of all of the yard, and then I pay water, garbage, and sewer.
Dang.
And
Okay.
there's no smoking and no pets.
Okay.
And I'm looking for at least a 1 year lease. Is it for you, or who is it for?
Yeah, so I actually work with investors, and what they do is I have a bunch of people who are business owners, and unfortunately, they don't necessarily qualify to purchase a home right now, right? And so I try and go, okay, well, let's get you in a rental, right? A lot of times for a year, you know, to kind of wait for your home to, or for your credit to actually show that you can buy a house, or, right, just kind of work on their credit or whatever they're looking for. So what is do you have like a ratio of like what credit you do expect?
Um, yeah, I do a background and a credit check on everybody.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's fine.
And yeah, so that's pretty much what I do.
Do you, sure. I mean, is it like though when you're looking at the credit check, for sure background's important, credit check's important, but is there a like where you're like, oh no, they have, you know, if it's under 600, you're like, nope, or is there kind of some leniency there?
Well, yeah, I like a pretty good credit score, but it just depends on the situation and you know, if they're professional people or whatever, you know.
Sure, yeah, right. So leniency, right? Depending on the situation, I totally respect that. How long have you owned this home?
I've owned it a long time.
Yeah, like forever. How long have, and this is just me kind of being like, oh, I like to do some due diligence for my, you know, customers and clients. When I say, hey, this is a great rental, you know, like what am I looking at? Do you, how long have you rented it out for? I mean, it's brand new. It sounds like, I mean, you just refurbished the entire house. It sounds like, you know, was like, how did you just get it and then like update it or?
Well, the previous tenants lived there 11 years.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So, yeah, so I just went through, put new carpet and painted it and just spruced it up.
Mm-hmm.
I went completely through it before they moved in, and there was a couple of things I didn't do, like countertops and a few things, so I just went back through it and gave it a fresh coat of paint and finished like the countertops and whatnot that I didn't do before they moved in.
That's Fantastic. And then it shows that it's lit, you're wanting 1850 for it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Just verifying. I want to say that I write my stuff down correctly, but sometimes I don't. So I appreciate that. And then, okay, a couple other random questions, and this is just to, make sure that I do my job and ask all the questions I possibly can. So if, you had an opportunity to take on maybe less of the liability, but still receive cash flow, like I'm sure you're wanting, which is why you have a rental. I mean, do you have more than one rental, or is this just your only one that you have?
I have lots.
Oh, okay. This is what you do. Got it.
That's what I do.
Well, have you ever seller financed then your property so you don't have to manage the property and just obviously receive cash flow?
Yeah, no, I don't want to sell it.
So seller financing isn't really selling it though, right? I mean, if you, depending on how you structure it, or a lease option, right? Most people don't actually, unfortunately, complete that seller financed option. You could even do a 30-year note, so they can't buy it. Does that make sense?
Hello?
Oh, did I lose you? Sorry. So what I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. So what I've done before is, because why would you sell it, right? You're cash flowing, like this is your retirement, I'm sure, it's your thing. But what I've done is structured it so that it's like a 30-year note. And so it feels like they're, buying the house essentially, but they're really not. It's 30 years. So you're just the bank and you cash flow significantly. Because people are willing to pay a lot of money for seller financing, believe it or not.
Well, it's hard to sell. It's just half. It's a duplex. So I don't want to sell it, so.
Sure. So, I mean, but if you weren't selling it and you were just like, how do I say this? Like where you're just the bank, right? So you don't have to manage the property anymore. Somebody else manages the property, and then you get your cash flow of, $1,800 a month or whatever. And then, but somebody else is actually renting it out for you, that kind of a thing.
Well, you're talking about a property management?
No. So like I have investors who would actually come in and say, hey, we'll give you, let's say $80,000 down or whatever, and then in return, we'll do like a 30-year note so that you don't ever sell it essentially, right? Like as long as you don't want to, you can do 50 years. I don't care. I don't care how long the note is. And then we just build in like the interest rate. That's variable. You can change up basically, so down payment we can change up. We can talk about what the payment would be every month and change, so there's a lot of options that we could play with to verify that it works for you and what you're looking for. And then now you're not reliable for anything because the bank doesn't mow the lawn. The bank doesn't, take out the garbage or pay for anything, right? You just collect checks, which is sometimes really nice, if you have a lot of properties or.
Yeah. No, I'm not interested in anything like that. I've owned these properties for a long time, and I do real well just with renting them, so I think that's what I want to do.
Okay. Is there a point, just as a long-term goal, like in 10 years from now, if I gave you a jingle, what's your end goal? Do you think you would sell them all at the end, or are you going to kind of just pass them down to your children?
Yeah, my son's going to get probably all the duplexes. I'll probably sell the apartment house, but he'll get the duplexes.
Okay. Well, you are a good dad. That's all I have to say. Generational wealth.
No, he's a good kid. He's on the fire department, and he's worked hard. He helps me with all the property, so
I love that.
He's earning it.
Oh, I love that. Well, nevertheless, teaching your children how to acquire generational wealth is amazing, and I applaud you for that. So thank you for taking a second and talking with me. I actually do think I have a couple clients that could use this rental. So thanks for taking a second with me.
Okay, all right. Appreciate
Yep, talk soon. Yep, bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
No, I don't. Sorry. But I might. So that's the thing. You never know, right? You make phone calls, and then tomorrow I'll get a phone call because I do actually have a client that is in this area, and she needs a 6-month lease. So that might not work. Anyway, maybe it is. We'll see. Linda. Oh, let's talk about what you learned here on this call. specific stand out to you? Anyone? Could you hear that okay? Is that loud enough?
Yeah, I think it's difficult sometimes to convey the whole idea of seller financing without saying seller financing.
Right. I mean, I did say seller financing, and he still was like, because they don't get it. They don't know what seller financing is. Like, oh my gosh, how do you not know? But they just, I don't want to sell it. Well, okay, let's erase that idea and let's just have you be the bank, right? I don't know. Any other thoughts on that? Guess I should do this because I liked. Let's see here, balloon. Interest.
Now, Amelia, on something like that, would you maybe follow up with a mail piece explaining what it is that you were trying to say, or what would you do with that?
Yeah, and we have their address, so how easy to put together even just a letter of intent, right? And maybe that's why maybe having their email address, paying for that extra, it's like $20 or whatever a month, paying for that might be the case, because I could shoot them an email like, hey, I'm interested in your property, blah, blah, blah. So they open it, right? Maybe, and then it's an offer. So they can see that. Problem is when people are so ignorant, it's ignorant on fire sometimes. And I deal with this all day long. Like honestly, I was on the phone with an agent yesterday and I wanted to just punch myself in the face over and over because he honestly just didn't get it. Like so we're under contract on this property, so we're going to talk about it. But just a side note, like he was such ignorance on fire, and he's an agent or owner agent, so he thinks he knows everything, and he's been investing for years, and all this great stuff, and he's telling me how amazing he is, and it's like, okay, yeah, dude, like I get it, like that's cool. So why are you selling? Like that's what I kept coming back to, right? Like why are you selling? Like let's go through this. And he told me all these, he's like, oh, I just got over my head. I can't do it. He's panicking first off. So fine. I get it. You're distressed, right? Like that's where I come in. Like here we are. But he was like, you're not giving me anything to work with. You're asking for me to accept an offer with 3 weeks of due diligence and $1,000 earnest money, and you're going to close the day after due diligence is up. You're not liable for anything. You have zero skin in the game. And I'm like, okay. And then he just keeps yelling at me like all these problems that I've, submitted this offer and, I how offensive it is and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, so you signed it. Like I didn't sign the contract. He already signed the contract before we had this conversation. So I honestly was just like, bro, you're yelling at me for an hour. Well, it was like 20 minutes. And he's just like so pissed off about this offer that I sent him that he's already signed the day before. And he's telling me like why he shouldn't sign it and why, he doesn't know if he's confident that he's gonna, do this deal with me. And I'm like, you don't have a choice. You actually have to sell this house to me. You know that, right? Oh, well, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? You're a real estate agent, one, and you're an investor? Like, what? Okay, bro. Like, I get to do whatever the heck I want with this property. And on there it says, on like the listing, it says, no wholesaling, no transfer of ownership, no, right? It goes through like a list of things that he doesn't want you to do. And so then I go, so that like, why would you want me, like if I already have this under contract, I'm doing all the work, why wouldn't you want me to sell this for you? Like, why wouldn't you want me to do that? Just to see if that was even an option, if I didn't want to do the property, if I could wholesale it, right? And he's like, oh, well, I mean, if you're going to actually sell it, I could sell it too. I'm an agent. If you were going to sell it, like, what are you talking about? And he's like, so if I found a buyer and is the same exact offer and they just took it over, you're not going to wholesale it? Like, you're not going to let me do that? And he's like, oh, well, if you're not going to change any of the rules or if you're not going to do any of that stuff, then, if you're not going to push it out another 3 months or something, then sure, I'd let you do that. I'm like, you're sure super upset about a lot of things right now, and I'm telling you that you're like, you're doing it all wrong. I don't know what to tell you. And it was funny because one of our new real estate students was there with me, and so he was like, "Is that how they all are?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually." Like, yes, you just get to deal with a lot of people that don't understand unless you're with them, right? And that's getting in the door sometimes is like the best part. Um, just to woo them over enough to be like, hey, can I come look at your property? With these ones, I don't feel like that's a good idea because that's kind of wasting their time, right? Like that would be rude in this case, I feel like. Um, just because I'm not the one that's personally trying to rent it, right? So it could be a waste of their time, and I don't like to waste people's time. But yeah, any other fun things? Let's see, Linda. But you're right about sending them
Hey, Maylee, I'm just curious, why would anybody want to put a big down payment on a house and rent it and never buy it?
well, cash flow.
But you mentioned the same rental or the same cash flow that you'd be paying him
Mm-hmm.
as what it is for rent for.
Because of the duplex. I heard that it was a duplex.
Mm.
So it would be. So if he was going to do the entire property, which was the duplex, roughly,
I see.
in my mind, right? And explain that because he wasn't going to get it anyway. But yeah, good point. Because
I think I got what you were trying to say there too. And it's hard to pit somebody that's like, no, don't want to sell, don't want to sell, don't want to sell, But I think I got what you were trying to say, and that is, well, that it's, I mean, technically you would be selling it, but because that's what seller financing is, and we would want to buy it, and we would want to have the title in our name, but he'd still be getting cash flow. He basically would become the lien holder, but
right. I was just trying to get in the door. Like, give me something. You don't have to sell it. You're not selling.
He did mention that he had an apartment building as well, that
Yeah.
he would probably consider selling in the future, and maybe that's an end to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard when they're excited about, I mean, I personally, I don't know though, like, I guess where maybe you're saying to your point of sending them something and then being like, hey, I sent you something in the mail. Did you get it? Or an email, maybe, so they can actually pull it up. I sent you an email. I would love to go over it with you so they can actually see something, right? Intangible, so they can see numbers. Sometimes that's what it takes, right? People to actually see the numbers for them to go, oh, what? Like, maybe I am doing way too much work. But for some reason, especially these good old boys, they actually think that if they're not working hard at something, they don't deserve money, right? It's like a total mindset shift. We actually missed out on a 12-unit apartment complex. They were going to seller finance it to us. It was this awesome deal. Cash flow was insane. It was up here in Riverdale. And once again, they chose, because originally I got them convinced that they're trying to retire. The only way they can retire is to seller finances to us. That is their exit strategy. That's the best way for them to retire. And we lost the deal, right, Mitch? Because they just, no matter how many times we run the numbers, they just couldn't wrap their heads around, well, I need to be mowing the lawn and I need to be, and it's like, why would you do that? Like, that's not retirement. Like, that's not retirement. And they just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. I was sad about that one because that was a good deal. Linda, let's see what Linda's got.
I was doing other things I was having to jumpstart my car, so I didn't catch the part where he had another apartment complex. Why didn't you go down that road with him?
It's a good question. I kind of felt like he just wasn't understanding, so maybe coming back to it, he said later on, so I kind of felt like that could be something later on, put that on a list of maybe, that could be a thing. In notes, I think that would be smart to just be like, all back notes I'm taking on my side over here, but back on multi. Oops. Oops, that didn't work. Can you not do that? He owns. I think that could work. You know, just to be like, hey, I can call you back. Well, I put notes, and I have actually the to put into my other share and send him like a email, but I'm gonna actually probably just send him a little letter. So it says like letter of intent, right? People do like offers, even though they say they don't want to sell. Sometimes I feel like actually sending him a formal offer is nice. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. But you're right. I definitely could
What's
have.
interesting is he mentioned selling that apartment building in the future, but basically he didn't say before he dies. But what good would that do him? He's gonna get capital gains. I mean,
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like, okay, you've been doing this for a while, but these are good old boys, man. Those sometimes they
But
don't.
if he would sell an apartment complex on seller finance, he doesn't have the giant capital gains.
Bingo, exactly. That's what
exactly.
I think Tim was trying to say. Yeah. So that's silly. That's silly. All right, let's go back here.
Listen, Linda.
Yeah, listen, Linda. Listen. 502, 31, 42. And honestly, I've never really called these types of leads. So this is, you know, we're kind of doing this together. Hello. Hi, is this Linda? Yeah. Linda, this is Maylee. I'm actually interested in your property you have for rent at 320 East First Avenue.
Okay, great.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your house?
So what would you like to know? It's a 1-bedroom on the main level. We're going to show it on Thursday. This open house style between 5 and 6. You can stop by and see it.
Oh, will you be there?
It'll be Rex. Rex will be there.
Okay, well that's great. I love that. So is there multiple people, like is there multiple units in this house?
It's a 4-plex.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on Thursday. And what time to what time? Open house?
Between 5 and 6, he'll just be there and show it to you. You can just stop by anytime. I can give you his cell phone so you can text me if you have any questions or
Perfect. Yes.
finding him or something. So his cell phone is 801 514
514.
and then 5677.
Perfect. And that's Rex.
That's Rex. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Well, again, my name's Maylee. I definitely am going to swing by. This would be fantastic. How long have you, so you own the entire fourplex.
Right.
How long have you guys owned it for?
Probably about 30 years.
Oh gosh.
A long time.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. Well, and you know, I guess you like being the landlord then, right? Like, good heavens, you got a rough job.
Done it our whole life, so there you go. It includes, the rent includes the heat, and you pay your own electricity there, just so you know. That's it.
Okay, so includes heat. Does it have like a separate meter for that, or you just pay for it because it doesn't?
Everybody has their own meter for electricity, so you just sign up and have your own. And then it's a forced air heater, and it's all just one for the whole building. That's why we picked that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Meter. Okay, electricity done, and then like garbage, sewer.
That's all part of it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I do see that it's for rent for $1,050, correct? Okay.
That's right.
Okay, I love it. Do you have multiple of these, or is this kind of your own baby? Like you're like, nope, this is my own fourplex, and this is kind of what I do. Just curious, because I have a couple.
We have other places too. In the kitty corner across the street, there's a 10-plex, and we have that too. So we have a few others as well. Yeah, but This is the only one that's open. I don't have any other openings. This is the only one. So there's somebody that lives there at the moment, and she'll be out on the 28th. So we'll be trying to get it ready to have it rented the 1st of April.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I will be then. This is tomorrow, correct? So open house tomorrow?
It's Thursday. So tomorrow's, oh yeah, today's Wednesday. That's right. Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure it wasn't next Thursday, just to verify.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, tomorrow. Okay.
Well, thank you, Linda. I really appreciate
Okay.
you. Yep.
You. Okay, bye-bye.
Ooh, I'm so there. Who wants to come with me? That's so great because how cool. Because when you're belly to belly, at least for me, like I have so much more, like I can show them, like calculators. I can like run math for them. And how many people are going to actually show up to this open house? Maybe 5, maybe 10. I can go towards the end or I can go early and then talk to Rex and be like, bros, if like, like, if you have a 10-plex that's across the way, right? Like, tell our finances to me. Like, yes, this would be a
That's a
fantastic.
sweet area too.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just north of South Temple there. What an amazing area.
That would be no wonder why it's rented out, and I've actually never even thought about doing an open house for one of my rentals. Like, that is genius. Freaking love that. So.
Well, I'll go with you.
Huh?
I said I'll go with you.
Okay, yay, come with me. We'll do that right before our meeting tomorrow. That'll be fun. Wait, you're not gonna let me tell me what appointment set? That's lame. Appointment set. You're not gonna let me tell what time it's set for? Okay, you suck. Not a great CRM. Good thing I have notes. Okay. 10-plex. Sounds like they have multiple, even more than just this 10-plex and this 4-plex. So one of them, I think that's some success. Do we want to end on some success and pivot because it's already 8:12 and look at the deal, or do we want to keep trying to smile and dial?
It's up to you guys. Let us know what you want.
Ooh, okay, hold on. Clicked on something here. We're learning. Interesting. It does have their email. What? So, tax info? 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1794. Quick care for Zillow. That's cool, actually. Okay. Nope. Notes. There you go. You can actually just take notes. But I still don't see where you can add, and I guess add notes, so that's cool. But I don't see anywhere that shows what time you can create. Something that I would like it to do is, have me an ability to create a calendar event for me to be like, oh yeah, I booked it here. So when I look at my dashboard, it shows me like, oh, I have I already booked a time with this person, or a callback or whatever. That would be nice. So interesting. If there is that, I'll probably call tomorrow and just be like, hey, am I missing something? Because obviously I missed this too. So, and then it shows scripts. So, and then it has like the detail of so you can understand a little bit more about the property. That's nice. So, oh, then you can say if it's a callback, hot, personal. Nice. Okay. Anyway, there's my tangent of learning new things. I clicked, and this is what I did. I just clicked on the, wait, where did it go? Oh, where did it go? Did I click on something? Where'd Linda go? Where'd Craig and George go? Oh no.
They blocked you.
Yeah! Denied!
Denied.
No!
Unfriended.
Unoffended. No, but seriously.
Did they get filtered out some way?
I don't know. Oh.
There they are.
I didn't. That's always was clicked too, so that's interesting. So maybe they're not new anymore because I clicked on them. So it refreshed maybe. So all I did was click on Linda. I just clicked on her name, and then that's what popped this Yeah. So that's cool. So you can kind of see a little bit of the house. Huh?
Photos.
Yeah, you can go onto the Zillow actual link. That's nice. So you're not having to have multiple windows open. You can kind of go, let me look at the neighborhood, you know, and see what's maybe been done to it. You can see what the house is worth as a fourplex. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Red X. Oh, let me go back. Go away. I can't see.
What?
Okay, so we are here. What do we want to do? It is 8:16. We are at the. Do you want to talk about what we just, with the Linda thing? Maybe what you would do, and let's talk through, because we only called 3 people. So, we got one person that I actually, belly to belly, right? That's where I shine for sure. I can show them stuff, right? I can get excited and be like, what? No, like, come on.
Listen,
let's
Linda.
do this. Yeah, listen, Linda. Rex, come on, let's do this. But talk to me about what you're thinking. What do you want to see from here?
I think mainly we probably don't have time to dive into the quick analysis because we only have about 13 minutes left on the call. But why don't we just call one more?
Okay, let's call one more. We'll do the list. Call Bart. Okay. 801 520.
Bernadette.
Bernadette. 8141.
Ooh, West Valley. Those are easy to rent.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great rent. 1,400 for only $865.
Up one. You haven't called Bernadette yet.
Oh shoot! Oh, I'm calling Bart. I'm calling Bart.
Hi, it's Carla. Sorry, I can't take your call. Leave me a message and I'll call you back.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording.
I don't feel like that's, they're not gonna call me back, so I would just leave that. And you can text these people. That's something else you could do, right?
You're the Jay Massey.
What?
Hi, this is Maylee. I just wanted to let you know that I'm very interested.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
cut it off. Great
That's
way to
what
build intrigue. I learned that from Jay Massey.
Yeah, or with the FISBOs, we call and we say, hey, I'm here to talk to you about, address, and then we don't want to turn off, and then end it.
And then cut it off, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Turn
exactly.
off what? I love that. We actually, do you remember when we had our Smile and Dial where it would just leave those voicemails on every single. It's clever. That worked very well. We got a lot of leads from that. Okay. Well, I did call Bart, so we're going to call Bernadette. Bernadette. I like the name. Bernadette.
Reminds me of Big Bang Theory.
Bernadette. Bernadette.
Hey, this is Bernadette. Please leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Nah, I want to talk to him. Because these people are already kind of edgy, I feel like. No. I just want to talk to you. Let's call Lincoln? Lakin?
Lakin he ugly. Lakin he ugly.
Lincoln. I mean, 876.
Hughley.
842. What's this cute little +1?
It's an extension.
Googly.
Associates, unavailable right now. Leave your name, number, and a brief message. We'll send you a text, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible.
Googly. Didn't sound like a. Oh, interesting. I just got a text message. Hi, this is Zillow. Your call was either not connected or very short. If you didn't get the info you needed, we can collect details from you here to get you connected to 1285 South Alpine Way. If you got what you needed there, no need to respond to this message. What's your full name? That's crazy. Dude, Zillow is taking over the world. They are going to take over everyone's. That's insane. They actually own the entire. So they have a contract with the Board of Realtors. I didn't know this. But the Board of Realtors actually sells our leads. I found that out yesterday. I didn't know that as an agent. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you charge us a lot of money for the MLS and to be a part of your Board of Realtors, and you sell all of our current, like, our properties? Like, really? Oh, that's interesting. And all that information? Crazy. But Zillow is capitalizing on the world. What property was that? Alpine? Did we even call an Alpine? We didn't, so that's interesting. Okay, next one. So that was Bart. Oh, nope, that was Lakin. How do you say that? Angelico?
Angelico.
Angelico. Let's call Angelico.
Angelico.
Let's see.
That's how I would say it.
Angelico?
Doesn't necessarily mean that's how they say it.
Yeah. Well, and luckily, it's not the other way around. I'm not slaughtering their name. They're going to tell me their name first, right? That's nice. Hi, is this Angelico?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm actually calling about your rental that you have at 3821 Big River Way.
Okay.
Yeah, could you tell me a little bit about the property?
What do you want to know?
Well, I mean, I see that you have it for rent for $16.50.
Yes.
What does that all include?
So, includes water, sewer, garbage, your basic Comcast cable, includes the gym, pool, one covered parking spot, and so that's it. Basically, you got all appliances inside. I actually ordered my new washer and dryer that are coming in about 9-10 days. I gotta wait for them.
Oh, okay.
So you are basically responsible for gas, power, and if you wanna have, I mean, they just basically a couple months ago ran the full fiber.
Nice.
How that works, I really don't know because I mean I don't live there. They just run a bunch of cables. Everything's the whole neighborhood is connected. How much are they charging? What's the speed? Anything I really don't know. And then so that's about it.
Okay. So I'm not responsible to pay like the HOA fee or anything like that?
That's what. So in that, in everything what I just told you, I pay HOA, and then HOA provides cable, water, sewer, garbage. So HOA is my responsibility.
Okay. And this is just a really random question, but have you had anybody call and ask if somebody uh, is able to do like nightly rentals or short-term rentals out of one of these? Has the HOA, do they have rules around that?
Yeah, so if you are asking to Airbnb or something like that, HOA doesn't allow that.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I did. I had a person, um, um, I want to say a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly, but HOA doesn't allow that. And I mean, if the community has billions, there is no money for rent. But I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30, I have no idea. Is there people doing it? Probably. But for me, it's not worth the risk because I like to know who is coming in, who is coming out.
Right.
And the HOA is the same way. It's too much people, too much traffic, and create the problems. But plus, insurance, HOA insurance doesn't cover short-term rentals. So
Right.
how that works? Yeah, HOA has. I mean, long story short, 5, 6 years ago, maybe last 2 or 3 years, not at all, because it's too much headache for landlord and for the community.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I
Yeah.
appreciate you being, willing to kind of go down the rabbit hole with me, just to, have a conversation. How did you? So I actually work with a bunch of investors, and I work with people who are business owners who might not actually qualify for a traditional, like, to go buy a condo, right? But they would be able to sell or finance a condo. Partly why I'm calling, and I have a lot of clients, so I just try and serve everyone that I possibly can. And this looks like a beautiful property. Good job taking care of it. So I was just wondering, like, have you ever gone down that rabbit hole? Have you ever tried to do seller financing, or would you be even open to hearing of what that would look like?
So would I be willing to sell them?
Um, well, eventually. So typically what happens,
No.
okay.
No. I got 2 teenage boys. One is going to college and everything, and I'm going back to Europe in a couple of years, retiring, and that's going to be their stepping stone that they don't have to buy property. So I definitely not going to be selling them in the next 5, 6+ years. That's 100%.
I love that. Yeah. No, good for you. Creating generational wealth, right? I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know many of them, but that's not the only one that I have. If that's your question, and I bought that original property 17 years. So no, that's not something that I was approached and I got offered, but never crossed my mind. I do transportation for a living. I work in transportation. That's just kind of, if you want to call it, sidekick, a little bit extra cash, and for my boys that they have something that that they said, okay, we don't have to start from scratch. Okay, does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's,
Yeah.
a very honorable thing to do for your children and give them a leg up in life, right? That's,
Yeah.
yes.
If they produce, if they don't produce, I may sell them and spend down to base.
Yeah, right. No, I get
Yeah.
that. Have you, just as a thought, so I have a client actually where kind of similar situation, right? Where he actually owns 10 homes or 10 multifamily properties, and his intention every year he would, or every like 4 years or whatever, he would, get another one, start paying it off, and then get, and he built up a really nice rental portfolio. But recently he kind of goes, well, I want to give this to my, my children, but the problem is, they are not gonna be able to manage these, right? And I don't want the liability on them. So anyway, we ended up doing a seller finance in the sense that it was like a 30-year balloon or a 40-year note. And what happens is you are collecting rent, right? Just like you are now, but not having to be the landlord. So you're basically saying, hey, Mr. So-and-so, right? You get to be now the person that's reliable for collecting rent and cleaning the sewer, having the phone call at 2 a.m. if the sewer goes out or whatever, the toilet stops working or whatever. And all they now have to do on all their properties, the 10 different rentals that they own, they still get cash flow every single month, but they don't have to take on any of the liability. They don't have to pay property tax. They don't have to pay, right, any of that, and no capital gains, right?
Yeah. So what's your question? Would I be interested in doing that?
Yeah.
No. That's just doesn't make sense for me. Doesn't make sense. I worked all of these years to acquire a couple of properties as I have, and now doing that turn into something else. Just I'm the numbers guy. The numbers don't make sense for me. I don't. That person, maybe because he has a 10, I don't have so many as he has, and listen. I've been doing this for 7-8 years, and I have no problems finding good, decent renters. I never had to evict anybody. No issues. I do my background on renters. Plus, when people see the bald guy with heavy European accent, they usually don't fuck with me. They know what's coming.
I love it. Yeah.
So I just, like I said, if you give me a call tomorrow and we talk about transportation, about load brokerage and everything else, I can, because that's my main income. This is something on the side, and like I said, I don't need anybody to take any responsibility away from me to manage it. There's people with 10, 12, 15 units. This is just, I got a couple of units and I'm good. But thank you for offering.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I really appreciate your time tonight, and hopefully I can find somebody for you.
Okay, appreciate you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Talk soon. Bye. Wow. I actually like the guy a lot, so I will be calling him back because I do think he's someone that if he just saw freaking numbers, and I have his email, it looks like, let's see. Oh no email, darn it. But I could get it. I could have got it just now. Well, I think I could call back, but and I probably will. I'll put it all together first, right? And then I'll say, hey, let me just show you. You said you're a numbers guy. You said that, right? He's a numbers guy. Just the numbers don't make sense. Well, if I could make the numbers work for him, who's going to say no to that? Right? So, and I mean, do I even want this property? So maybe I don't even go down that rabbit hole. Or I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because HOAs are kind of frustrating. Right? They are on our side. Yeah, we can have a property management company manage everything, but I don't know if there's a ton of cash flow in that. Realistically, it sounds like he's owned it for a long time, so there could be, just because he's the, he'd be really the bank for the most part on it. But HOA is going to be expensive, and then he's paying for a lot. Garbage, sewer, like he's paying for all of that, plus Comcast. So it's like, oh, I don't know if there's a ton of margin there to really make it worth our time to keep going down that rabbit hole. What do you think?
Well done, Maylee. I think we had a couple of good ones there. It's tough because it does kind of take a minute to get into speed, and then stopping to teach kind of slows it down a little bit too. But the goal is that you guys have an opportunity to kind of see how this looks. It's every person's going to be different, so you can't get caught up in the details. You got to just start making the calls and hope that one falls. So one of mine and Maylee's favorite books to read is Go for No, and that really helps us understand, it's all statistics, right? You're gonna have X number of no's before you get a yes, and it's always more no's than yes. So the fact that we made 5 calls tonight and got all no's, those are just steps towards a yes. And so you just have to kind of count it that way.
I didn't even ask Linda. Let's be clear. I didn't even get a no. I didn't ask because I didn't want to know.
We're going to go talk in person. There's your opportunity.
Yes.
And it's on the way to our meeting at 7 tomorrow. So.
Yep.
That's awesome.
You can come with us if you want, if that was the question. Absolutely. Come on down.
I love it. Well, we're a little bit past time, but does anybody have any last minute questions on calling seller finance leads? Okay. We're going to do this activity every now and then just so you guys can kind of get a feel for it. But yeah, it's good stuff. This is seller finance acquisitions is what needs to be done right now. So I love that we get a chance to kind of share this with you guys. And you know, some of it we're kind of figuring out as we go. A lot of it we have experience with. So in some cases we can learn together, and in other cases, you know, we kind of get to we show you what we know. So guys, thank you so much for being here today. We are going to be back next week at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We actually have a workshop coming up, Velocity Banking Workshop, to be taught Tuesday at 7 p.m. This is live. This is in Sandy, Utah. If you'd like a Zoom link, we're not giving Zoom links to anybody that lives in Salt Lake County. So if you live in Salt Lake County, you got to come check it out live. But we will give Zoom links to people that live out of state or live far enough away that they can't make it to the meeting. So make sure you come check that out. It's going to be awesome. The recording for this call will be available immediately on our YouTube channel, Flipping with Mitch and Maley. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go support the channel. Hit that subscribe button. That's Flipping with Mitch and Maley on YouTube. Guys, we're going to be back next week. Until then, I love you all. Thank you for being here. We'll see you then. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you.